Now is the time for Arturas Karnisovas to be putting in the phone calls and the work that Chicago Bulls fans are expecting him to do. And ladies and gentlemen, might I say, based on some things that we're hearing, he might actually be doing it. Appreciate y'all for tuning in to another edition of the Chicago Bulls Breeze. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. If you are new to the channel, make sure that you are subbed to the channel because we are going to be dropping much more consistent on this channel. And I need y'all to help me with that. I'm not going to lie. Y'all know how many shows I got, of course, with the Windy City Breeze, Chicago Bears podcast, all of the stuff that I'm doing with Locked On and different things like that. Get pulled in a lot of different directions. If y'all see me missing an episode or I go a couple of days without dropping one, I need y'all tweeting at me just in case. Not to say I don't want to drop the content here. It's just a lot is happening behind the scenes and there's a lot of work that I have to do throughout the day. But I want to get back to posting and talking Chicago Bulls on a daily basis. So I need y'all help with that, man. Just make sure y'all tweet me at Pat the Designer. Be like, yo, Pat, where's the vid? Let's jump into this vid, though, because a very interesting conversation based on some things that we are hearing. I heard this first from Matt Moore of Action Network, but hearing this around the league as well, that there's some interest right now in the Chicago Bulls and that they're making phone calls to the Minnesota Timberwolves on the possibility of going out and acquiring Nickeil Alexander-Walker in a possible sign and trade for Lonzo Ball. Now, this would be absolutely interesting if the Bulls were able to pull this off. We all know, and listen, how I feel about Lonzo Ball is not hidden. I think that he's a great player when he's actually on the court, but he hasn't been able to be on the court for 4 years. But from some of the things that we're hearing here, it doesn't seem like the NBA is as concerned with that, especially with the contract that Lonzo Ball is on right now, with the cheap deal that you could possibly get him on, and knowing that the Timberwolves are really not in a position without going into the luxury tax to sign a guy like Nickeil Alexander-Walker. It's kind of not surprising that they're looking to move on from him. And if the Bulls can find a way to be able to be the beneficiary of a move like this, I think that would be great for this team moving forward. Now, Nickeil Alexander-Walker coming off a basically nothing money deal here. He's been making about $4 million annually. He's looking for a raise, and I think that he's played pretty well enough to deserve that kind of raise. And listen, I don't know if it's going to be breaking the bank. I don't know if you're talking about spending a ton of money, but the one thing that I will say is, especially coming here to Chicago, and you got to make the money match and different things like that, but if you do look at a guy who is here in Patrick Williams and how much money he's making with the little bit of production that you got from him from this last season, it's not surprising me to see the Bulls trying to go out here and make a smart financial deal to get Nickeil Alexander-Walker to Chicago. Now, what we saw out of Alexander-Walker last season, a little bit inconsistent, but 9 points per game, very up and down. Sometimes the shooting was falling flawlessly, sometimes it wasn't. But I think the thing overall is, number one, played in 82 games over the last 2 seasons. 82 games over the last 2 seasons. So you've got the health factor there that you feel pretty good about. And then you look at this young man's ability to be a 3-and-D actual player. Last season, shooting at 38% from the field. That 3 ball was falling, especially in the playoffs. You saw him hitting that at a high clip. And I think on top of that, the biggest part is that the defense is not going away with him. He's somebody who has continued to show at 6'5", 205 that he can guard pretty much 1 through 4 and do a pretty good job on all of them, and giving you that defensive presence that you are looking for if you're the Chicago Bulls moving forward here. Let me know how you guys would feel in the comments below about this kind of move going down. Do you think that it makes sense for the Chicago Bulls to go out there and add a guy like Nickeil Alexander-Walker to the team, or do you think, I'd rather stick it out with Lonzo Ball here and just kind of cut my losses where we're at? What for me, I love this idea. If you can turn Lonzo Ball into anything, I think that you're in a great spot. And the fact that you have a possibility here to turn Lonzo Ball into a player who I think could be a really good 3-and-D player, I think really fits kind of as the role player that this team needs in that spot that you can count on a night in and night out basis, has some of that starting ability that I think would be intriguing for the Chicago Bulls moving forward, and doesn't need a ton of shots, just kind of gets in where he fits in here. I think he fits in perfectly with a guy like Modest Buzelis. If you have Modest play the 4, you can have Alexander-Walker play the 3. If you hold on to Coby White, I think that could be a good move there. I think that he runs the floor really well, and so the combination of him and Josh Giddey together sounds like an ideal situation for the Bulls moving forward. This is one for me that just makes perfect sense, and so it's one where I'm actually excited to see if AK is going to get this done. And from the sounds of it, from how it sounds around the league right now, sounds like AK is on the phone nonstop, and that this guy is trying to do everything that he can to actually put a very competitive team together around the young pieces, which to me speaks to AK believes in the new core that he seems to have put together here with Josh Giddey, Coby White, and Modest Buzelis. Now, I don't know how much Coby White factors into that. I would think from what you saw in the second half of the season, that would be a big factor into this. But you know, when you're talking about making moves for pieces like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I think that that's a situation where you go out and you say, okay, well, if you're adding this in, you know that he's going to be a glue guy for this team. He's a veteran player, still a young player coming in. If I'm not mistaken, see if I could pull an age up here. How old is Nickeil Alexander-Walker? He is 26 years old, so still fitting in with that timeline. You're getting him kind of in that prime mode there. I think he's somebody who fits perfectly with what Chicago is wanting to do, and he's somebody who I honestly believe if you could get him into the building, he really steps up in those ways that you need to see Josh Giddey, Coby White, Modest Buzelis improve in. What I mean by that is you have somebody legitimately who can be that defensive lockdown player stepping into the lineup where you don't really have a lot of those guys in your starting lineup. Again, let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you guys as well. The loss of Lonzo Ball for me would be nothing. I think that is again, if you can get anything for the Lonzo Ball contract that you re-sign there, you've already missed out on possibly going out and getting the 18th overall pick because you didn't want to trade the pick for him. Now, to me, if you can go out there and yes, you're sending out somebody who, if healthy, is a legit piece, is a legit point guard, and I would love to see get healthy and go out there and ball out in Minnesota. I think this would be a win-win for both sides, especially when you think about the fact that teams around the league are not as concerned about Lonzo Ball's health as maybe some Bulls fans are, and how maybe some of the fans who are in the building are. I don't know how you can't, or some of the execs, I should say, who are in the building are. I don't know how you can't be when you've seen the history of Lonzo Ball to this point. But I mean, we heard how DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine have talked about Lonzo Ball. If you get one healthy season of Lonzo, that could be the one that puts you over the top. And the Minnesota Timberwolves are in a position where you're right there. You're right on the precipice of going out there and adding that, with knowing that they can't pay Nickeil Alexander-Walker because they're probably not going to go into the luxury tax for him to try and maintain keeping Naz Reid. I think that this will be a move that would benefit both teams in the long run. But here's the big thing for me. I'm just excited to hear that AK is doing some real GMing, that he's out there actually trying to improve the Chicago Bulls team, and that he's looking to bring in pieces that fit in with what Billy Donovan wants to do. And I hope that that continues throughout the offseason, man. But hey, let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. Like I've said, as always, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Love this news. Love to hear this news. Hope that this could be something that actually does get done. As always, man, y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. See Red Nation. Stand up. Peace.